What attracted you to this role and to this screenplay, really?
First, it was the idea of playing a character like that in this world. I always grew up. I grew up sort of with my mother's Italian. So I grew up in with that side of the family. My grandmother was just an incredible cook. In my family, we talked about what we were going to eat, what we just ate, what we were putting in the freezer for tomorrow to eat. So it was always, it was the epicenter of our household. Everything took place in the kitchen. All the drama took place in the kitchen, all the hilarity. And then I worked at a restaurant since I was a kid, and I was 15. So I just always loved the world. And then the idea of playing a character who's at that level, which I had no experience with, which was mind-blowing, actually. Doing a service at Ramsey and Hospital Row with Claire Smythe was incredible. She's a female head chef there, is a 3 Michelin star, and she's just incredible. So yeah, the world was the one. The other thing was the cast. Harvey Weinstein was talking, when he talked to me about the movie, talked about assembling an international cast, and talked about Omar and Ricardo and Emma Thompson, and it just sounded really exciting. And then Steve Knight wrote an incredible script that's been around a long time. And then when John Wells came aboard, well, he's sort of unparalleled in what he's done. It all just sort of came together and shooting in London. Wow. The trick was, it was in between Sniper and Elephant Man. So that was, so I was like trying to lose weight for the Elephant Man. So I don't know if you could see in the movie, he's like, is he 10 pounds lighter in that scene than he was the scene before?
One of the things I first noticed, not that far into Burnt, was the dialogue of this movie is razor sharp. Now, like in working and developing the film and developing the character, working with Sienna again after American Sniper, did you stick to the script? Were you allowed to sort of go off a little bit and just get into the character a little more?
The script was the basis for everything. There are a couple of scenes where we were able to, improvise a little. I mean, when you're working in the kitchen, I mean, a lot of that was just creating. I mean, Steve Knight wrote the scenes in the kitchen as a sort of engine, and then Marcus Waring, for example, was there every day, just about, and he was invaluable. I would ask him to do the scene before and just watch him, just all the little things that a chef would do. I mean, taking the back of a spoon when you're tasting, the way you would plate a meal, and how you would talk to people, and how you would talk about presenting a dish out there. All those things came from Marcus, which I think Steve knew was going to happen once we got on set.
Well, the dynamic of a chef, they're so like boxers. They're like musicians. They're artists, and it's such an unusual character to play.
Like I said, I've worked in kitchens, so I was aware of the high pressure, and the fact that I would be horrible at it. I remember I was a waiter during college, and just the idea of like, wait, they need ice cream, and then they need the pizza here, and 4 things, I was like losing my mind. The idea of being a head chef at the pass, which is basically the threshold before the food is being prepared onto its way out to service, having to be able to coordinate all of the timing for the fish to arrive and the meat to arrive and the garnish. It's just, and have everything, be able to overlook everything, and also trust everybody that's behind you. Is a level of pressure. And first of all, I don't know. When you cook, people come over. You cook with like 4 people. It's like World War III in the kitchen. Can you imagine cooking for 60, 70 people? I mean, I can't even imagine. It's crazy. So it's like you have to be like, it'd be crazy to do that. But then to do it at this level, I mean, I was blown away when I was at this woman Claire Smythe that I was talking about, to see how their kitchens are run. And it's an educated audience this day and age, and we were very aware of that. With Boiling Point, which was this documentary that the BBC made on Gordon Ramsay when he was going after his 3rd star. That was sort of the origin of all of this now, kitchen shows, but the audience is very aware of what goes on behind the scenes. So we had to make sure that it was as real as we can make it.
Working with Sienna again, because you spend a lot of time apart in American Sniper. You spend much more time together in this movie. So how was it to work with her again?
Well, I begged her to do the movie.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that we worked so well together, and I just think she's unmined as an actor. She's incredible, and I thought she did an incredible job in this film. I mean, I really do. She was great. And I also knew that there really needs to be a level of trust. I mean, the scene where he berates his brigade, and that scene that he has when he pushes her. I mean, that was something that we kind of created on the day. and we never would have been able to do that if we didn't have the trust that we had, because that was a really difficult scene, and people did feel, I think, scared. But yeah, I mean, that when you have that sort of foundation of what we had just gone through, and also the fun of playing completely different characters, was also fun.
But you went from playing a real life character to a fictional character.
Yeah.
So in playing a fictional character, do you feel like that gives you a little bit more freedom to create that character, even though it's written and you're working with the director, you're working with the writer? Do you feel like a little less pressure to sort of develop the character on your own versus when you were playing American Sniper?
It's just a different kind of pressure, but you still want to create a compelling story. And I did feel pressure in terms of being believed, because you are playing someone that is at a certain level in his field. And all of the other cooks that are in the kitchen are actual chefs around London, all of the extras that are cooking, because we are actually cooking food. And there are no sort of hand doubles or cook doubles. We're all doing it. And Marcus Waring was behind the monitor all the time. So I did feel that pressure to make it believable, because he had no problem telling me that it wasn't, which I loved, because you want to get it right. So there was that pressure, but it's just a different kind of creative process, mostly in the research, when you're playing a real character, as opposed to a character that lives on the page. But I had the wonderful access to Marco Pierre White and Gordon Ramsay and Marcus Waring, three really incredible guys, and that was really fun. And I tried to just I actually wasn't conscious, but little certain things, like Marco Pierre White, whenever he talks, he's always like this: coriander, it's simple ingredients. And I remember in the Burger King scene, he does this. He's talking to Sienna, and he does that. And I thought oh, that's Marco Pierre White.
Now, when you grew up, you worked a restaurant. So did I, by the way. I think we all have very similar backgrounds here. But do you feel like when you're home after making this movie, do you go, I think I'm going to make a really good dinner now? You feel like you're a better cook after making this movie?
Well, I definitely learned how much I'm not a cook doing the movie, for sure. But I definitely learned a tremendous amount about plating food. I mean, that's really what those guys do more than anything. They're the plating the food. And that was incredible. Just to watch Marcus Waring create a dish was, and then to be able to do it myself within the confines of the story was fun. And I definitely do. I think since then have gone a little crazy with the plating of food. Even today, now that I think about it, for lunch.